Hey everybody, it's Penny Kid with Pennywise Coaching. I am so excited to be here today with my friend Ingrid, who is an amazing wellness coach. She'll tell you a little bit more about all the things and how she specializes in food and what goes into our body. But we thought there's a huge intersect of food and money because we all have to eat and we all have to spend money. So we thought we would have a little conversation around that today. So welcome, Ingrid. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, Penny. I appreciate being able to talk to your audience.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Thank you, Penny. So I am a nutrition health coach. I specialize in helping people to reverse their diabetes, to lower their blood sugar, kick their food cravings, and generally eat a much healthier diet than the standard American diet that most Americans enjoy. So
Yeah. Do you find that people always assume that's going to be more expensive?
yes. Yeah, that's a big myth that I would like to bust right off the bat. So thank you for asking that question, Penny. Probably the number one question or objection that I get from my clients is, oh, but I can't afford to eat healthy. It's
Hmm.
like, it's too expensive. It's too expensive to buy organic, for example. And it really is a total misconception, but something that I challenge my clients as being a limiting belief. It is a
Right.
limiting belief that I can't afford to eat healthy, therefore I'm going to continue to eat junk. It is a limiting belief, and this is a big part of what I do is I educate people as to how they can make healthier, budget-friendly choices. That it really is a matter of, okay, well, how much are you spending on Starbucks? How much are you spending on DoorDash? How much are you
Yes.
spending on eating out? When you're too tired to prepare food, what's your go-to? How much money are you spending on, oh, my pants don't fit, so now I have to go up a size and spend money on clothes because I've gained weight?
Yeah.
So there's all these factors that come into play when it's about, oh, I can't afford to eat healthy. My big response to them also is, well, you can either invest in your health now or pay for your sickness later down the line, which
That's true.
means reduce productivity, time off work when you're sick, increased cost of medications. We all know that insulin is very expensive, and a lot of people simply stop taking their medications because they cannot afford it. When
Right.
you know, diseases like your metabolic diseases like type 2 diabetes, it's reversible. And it's reversible simply by eating healthier, and it doesn't have to be expensive. And so this is a big part of what I do is show people. I don't just tell people, I show them. Every
Yes.
week I show them, here's how you can cook and not even cook, but prepare food, 5 ingredients or less, that's budget friendly and that's going to lower your blood sugar. So
Yeah. I love that. And we'll talk about that before we jump off about how people can follow that because you have some really easy, concrete tips. And I think it becomes daunting to those of us who don't consider ourselves like great cooks or,
yeah.
we don't know how, we don't understand but you really have helped people break it down and read ingredients and at the same time, I feel like you're very approachable with people like, okay, maybe you can't buy organic or maybe you can't do this all the time. What can you do that gets you one step closer to where you want to be, right? And that's kind of how I approach money too. It's not all or nothing and don't spend any money. That's just not realistic. And I don't even say it's if you have to never eat out or something like that. There you can never
Exactly.
go to Starbucks or you can never, but it's the frequency in which we do that that causes us pain in both our pocketbooks and our waistline, right?
And it's what you spend your money on. It's like, well, yeah, I want to go to my favorite restaurant, so what can you order that's going to, like be easy on your wallet but also fit in with your lifestyle and your healthy eating protocols? Because you can I eat out all the time,
Hmm.
right? The In-N-Out Burger. Oh my gosh, I love In-N-Out Burger. I will go to In-N-Out Burger all the time. But do you think I order the big soda and the huge fries and everything? No, I'm very happy with what I order. And of course, my family and friends who I go with, if they want to eat like that, that's up to them. But I'm sitting there and I have my really healthy, version of that particular meal. It's the same with any steakhouse or any, if I go to a bar and everyone's, eating burgers and having beer, I'm okay if they eat that because there's always something on the menu that I can find. And of course, eating like this, I don't necessarily order appetizers and a main course and dessert and the alcohol. I mean, just by cutting out alcohol, I'm not saying don't drink alcohol, but you can have one drink. You can have uh, a drink, a cocktail that is low in sugar, but you're not going to spend all that money on a bottle of wine. And you may share a dessert instead of ordering dessert here and there. So there's lots of ways that you can be creative to still enjoy. I love to eat out. I eat out
Hmm.
whenever I can.
Hmm. So tell me about like just one example at In and Out. What would you eat versus what maybe either you would have eaten back in the day or that somebody with you would eat? You said sodas and loaded with sugar. What else? What would you
Yeah.
choose versus what?
What I used to eat, yeah, the double, burger with all the fries, or the animal fries, or the fries, the cheesy fries, things like that. My favorite to order is the protein style burger, which is basically a lettuce wrap.
Okay.
You just cut out the bread and you cut out the fries, and I'll just drink water. Um, Sometimes I will drink a Diet Coke, but not very often. Not very, because
Yeah,
it's like I like a diet soda every now and then. It's not the healthiest, but I don't drink them every day. It's kind of a treat.
right.
My other favorite is I just order the patties. And it's a really popular thing now at these fast food, burger places, is you just order the patties. I will just order 6 patties with the salt on them. And I am not at all embarrassed about doing that. I proudly walk up to them and say, I want 6 patties. And you know what? I just eat those patties because they're salty and tasty and good. And I find that I'm so satisfied after eating that. I don't miss all those highly processed carbohydrates.
Right.
So, there's always a way to find something. It's the same with McDonald's. I love me some McDonald's. And I'm talking about fast food because I know so many people like fast food. I love McDonald's breakfast. I love it. And you
Okay.
can order now really a la carte. So, I can order the scrambled eggs. I can order a side of bacon. I can order a black coffee. Or I can just say put a little creamer in there and that's fine. Ordering a la carte, while sometimes it could be a bit more expensive, again, if you're not doing it every week or every other day, it's a once in a while thing, it becomes more affordable. It becomes more affordable and better for your waistline.
Well, and I think some of it, and just like money and learning to be intentional with your money, you're learning a new habit and you're practicing it over and over again, right? It's not perfection, it's progress. And if we just make a little incremental changes, it can wind up being a huge difference over
Yes.
time, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your backstory. How did you get into this? Tell me your health journey.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of fell into health coaching when I overcame my own very serious illness. It was a terminal diagnosis. They didn't expect me to live past about 3 years, but luckily the medications worked really well until they didn't, until the side effects became just too much for me, and I was looking at it a new way. I was right up there, with type 2 diabetes as well because I'd gained a lot of weight and I led a very sedentary lifestyle. I ate the standard American diet. I was all about the junk food and the snacks and the sugar and the alcohol. I mean, I would drink wine and eat a bag of chips and watch 5 hours of TV because I just felt terrible. I didn't have any energy. And I decided, well, perhaps I should really look at what I'm eating, and the rest is history. People were coming to me and saying, Ingrid, you look great. You've lost all this weight. You look really healthy. What's your secret? And I'm like, well, it's not really a secret. I simply follow the science and, I eat better. Of course, now that I've cut out all the wine clubs, I mean, that's probably about $10,000 a year I'm saving just on wine. which
Yeah.
is now, I can put that towards healthier options. I'm not spending the money on junk food and garbage. And, when I go to Costco, which is one of my favorites, I'm in and out. I have my basic items, which is mostly protein, and the veggies. There are places that you can shop that make it more affordable. But
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of fell into it, and everyone was asking me for help. And so this is what I do. If I can really help someone, particularly if they're in that pre-diabetes phase before it becomes full blown, that's ideal. But that being said, I do work with obese women who are on insulin and on all the medications, and I help them to gradually change it. So I've been through it, I lived it, and I still face the same challenges as everybody. I still get stressed and want to get to the emotional eating and eat a pint of ice cream or get into the chocolates.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, well, how's that working for me? Not so well, not so well. So it again, it's a lifestyle, a permanent lifestyle change. It takes a lot of mindfulness and really being strong about your why. Why? I want to get healthy. I want to save money. I want to invest in my health so that I can do all the things that I want to do, particularly down the line. And a lot of women I work with are kind of empty nesters or soon to be empty nesters. And it's like, you want to enjoy your retirement, right?
Yeah.
You've worked all your life and now you're retiring. And do I want to be healthy enough to go chase my grandchildren around? Do I want to be able to get on a plane and go travel? So I'm like, okay, invest in your health, be mindful about what you're spending money on. If it's junk food, put that money towards your travel budget. And then also the whole other thing is how to eat when you're traveling. It doesn't have to be, it's the same concept as when you're eating out. There's always something. I can always, every single time, find something on the menu that will suit me. And it goes back to asking for what you want.
Mhm.
Like, how is that prepared? How is that cooked? Is it grilled or is it deep fried? Oh, can you grill that instead? And not feeling like you have to load up on all the, heavy sides and everything, which add to your waistline, but then also add to the bill at the end of the night.
Right. Right. No, I love that well, to know you is to know that Ingrid is not shy and she's going to ask for what she wants anyway. But I think giving us permission to do that and to be like, you're not putting them out, you're in a restaurant, whatever, or you make the choice on how you cook it for your family. And I think one of the things that I'm excited to kind of pursue with you and some of my other colleagues is like, is putting together like a booklet of some
Yes.
kind that is
Yeah.
like easy meals, because I have this conversation all the time
Yep.
and people would think, oh, it doesn't have anything to do with money, but it does. When people like, I'm door dashing, I'm picking up because I have to and I'm in a hurry and I'm a busy person, and just those little tweaks of like, what if you didn't go every day, what if you went twice a week, what if you put in some food. So one of the things that I'm excited to kind of flesh out with you over the next, few months or whatever, is to put some meals together, because like you said, your Tasty Tuesdays, your goal is to have five ingredients or less.
Less. Five ingredients or less that are low sugar, diabetic friendly, low in processed, ultra processed foods. That's really easy. It's like, don't even think of it as cooking. And
Yeah,
my argument when people say I can't cook, I'm like, well, can you drive a car? Yes. If you can drive a car, then you can get some ingredients and put them together. And there's so many tools out there, just like when you're budgeting, there's so many really cool tools out there that will
right.
help you come to a budget. So I teach people not only how to get five ingredients or less and make a meal, but meals that you can eat more than once.
Multiple times.
Multiple, it's
Right.
like cook once, eat multiple times. So for those people whose objections are, I don't have time, well, I can show you how to cook a meal with five ingredients or less that are budget friendly and waistline friendly and diabetic friendly, that costs a fraction of what you would pay in
Mhm.
DoorDash or takeout, and is going to be on your table and in your mouth again in a fraction of the time. You don't have to wait
Yes,
45 minutes for DoorDash to show up. And in the meantime, you're starving and you're shoveling other junk that you've got lying around the house. I mean,
that's right.
a tip that I learned a long time ago is if it's not there, you can't eat it. So, friends, you have the choice whether it even goes in your shopping cart or not. If you put it in your shopping cart and it comes home, the chances are you're probably going to eat it.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, your best line of defense is at the grocery store or in
Exactly.
nowadays with the click and pick kind of options,
Yeah.
Instacart or whatever. I think you're less marketed to, you're less tempted than you are when you're wandering down the aisle. When I first started hearing that, I thought people would spend more and that it was sort of a, but now
No,
time saver. You can actually be mindful about what you buy. You can stick to your budget because you can see what's
no.
the price going up in your shopping cart, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the online grocery shopping concept. I was doing that well before lockdown because, of course, during COVID, then everyone was, you couldn't go to the grocery
Had
store.
to. Yeah.
And what I loved about that is I was able to save my everyday items that I would buy all the time. And you're right, you're not dragging your kids into the grocery store. They're not there at the checkout with all the candy and the junk food and
Yeah.
the sodas and everything. And I found that it was not just a time saver, it saved stress. It's like, there it is. I have to be really disciplined because I've got my shopper. And so it's just kind of another level of security. Um,
Yeah.
and it's the same with where I shop. There's so many, you don't have to shop at whole paycheck, right? You
Hmm.
don't have to shop at those stores there. I love the grocery outlet. I love, 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 love the grocery outlet. I go there all the time. I love Costco. There are so many, places like Walmart that have a lot of ranges of products.
Yeah.
You just got to rethink. You just got to rethink how you shop because there's plenty of options that are affordable. And it's the same thing as, oh, I can't afford to buy organic. Okay, well, that's fine. Just understand that there are certain types of produce that we call the clean 15 that you can eat. And even if they're being sprayed, if they have a skin on them, for example, like an avocado, you're going to not eat the skin. So it's not getting into the flesh of the fruit or onto
Right.
like cabbage is another great example. That's a clean one. Even if it's been sprayed, you just take off the outer layers and there it is. You're not
Okay.
going to eat the outer layers. And obviously, washing and things like that, I teach people how to mitigate the effects of, those sprays and everything. However, the other thing is shop at your local farmers markets. You're
Hmm.
supporting your local farmers. You're more likely to get something organic. And if you go towards the end of the day, all these farmers are packing up to go home and they don't want to take,
They've got great deals.
yeah, exactly. So, there's always and plus, I mean, the farmers markets are wonderful. It's a wonderful day out. Bring your kids, bring the dog. It really is a joyful, fun experience. And as we get into the warmer weather, it's like, oh my gosh, the farmers markets are wonderful. You just have the whole rainbow of colors and everything's fresh and beautiful. So, for every objection I get, I've got a suggestion. I've got a
Yeah,
suggestion. It really is a mindset
it
and it
is.
really is reframing because you want to get the most bang for your buck because it's going to be better on your bank account and it's going to be better for your health in the long run. And it's
Right.
really, it's like, oh, but my kids won't eat that. Yes, they will. If they're hungry enough, they will eat that. And I
Yeah.
know because my kids were like, oh, we want our Happy Meal. And I'm like, no, you're going to have hummus and celery. And you know what? They like the hummus and celery, but,
Yeah.
they also like their Happy Meals. And it's just a matter of teaching your kids when they're little. If I could go
Yes.
back and do it all again, I would be a little bit, no, I'd be a lot more strict about that.
Right. Right.
With
Well, and
my
I think
son, yeah.
just the waste,
Yeah.
when you think about how much you throw
Yes.
away, let's say
Yeah.
you buy it cheap or you buy because you buy this huge quantity, but then
Yep.
it goes bad and you throw it
Throw
away.
it out.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's a cost. That's that hidden thing too, where you're like when you were talking about you're either going to pay it in your healthcare costs later, or you're going to pay it to take care of your body now. It's the same way. And, I tell people you can save money into the poorhouse in Costco. You have to be careful about what you buy there,
Yes.
but you can split it, you can freeze it, you can do some things that help make it be a
Exactly.
good value, right?
Right. And that's what I would do when my daughter first moved out of home. I'm like, look, I'm doing a Costco run. I've got this big bag of broccoli or the double bag of salad. I'll give her
Yes.
one. There's things like that. Those big pallets of water and things like that. Well, let me give a few to her. So that's always a good thing. And they have a lot of really great frozen products too. that
Yeah.
are healthy that you buy in bulk that you can, a big bag of chicken breasts that comes frozen anyway. You just take out the ones when you need it. But also, I love the whole idea of cook once, eat multiple times. So you get these
Me
big
too.
portions. You get like the double pack of the tri-tip. I mean, that's a California thing. I don't know if you have tri-tip beef in other parts of the country, but
Sure, we do. We might call
it's
it something
we
different, but
call it
yeah.
something different. But these big, kind of beef
Steaks.
roast, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And we throw those on the barbecue, and that will last. I've got two very, hungry boys. That will last quite a few days, but they will just pick at it and eat it, and then I don't have to worry about cooking for a few days
Hmm.
because it's there. Also, my son, I homeschooled my son for 5.5 years, and a big part of what we taught when he was really little, it goes back to teaching your kids and setting that good example when they're little. We used to do scavenger hunts in the grocery store. We spent a lot of time on kind of the old home science. It's like, I
Yeah.
think you're in the generation with me. It's like we did home economics and home science and stuff like that. I taught him how to read labels. I taught him how to go grocery shopping. Between me and his nanny, we taught him how to cook. He was there
Yeah.
with the big knife chopping vegetables when he was in kindergarten, first grade. Oh, he's had, but he cut himself once and then that was it. He kind of
Right.
learned. And to really, get your kids involved with meal planning. Yeah, it's a hassle sometimes to take them, especially if they have a meltdown by the time you get to the checkout and you give in and it's like, oh, just shut up. Yeah, have the sugary, cereal or whatever. No, get them involved as a family to get your kids involved in making healthy choices, get them
I
involved
love
in
that.
meal planning and understand, okay, if they want pizza, guess what? They can have pizza, they can have cupcakes, they can have chicken nuggets. It's just a matter of swapping them out for ingredients,
Right.
healthier ingredients. And it's really, you can literally have your cake and eat it too. You just need to shop a little bit differently. You might pay a little bit more for for example, but you know, you're not going to pay more for all of the junk that you have been eating before.
Right. That's what I was thinking the other day when I was in the store and just walking down the chip aisle and I was like, dang, I forgot how, and I feel like with the cost of living, those things are impacted too, right? And you're like, okay, if I'm not buying a $5 or $8 bag of chips, I can spend a little more on the food that I
Exactly.
should be eating. So, yeah.
Exactly. Think of the
Well,
money
that's
you're
awesome.
saving on all the junk and add a little bit of that to buying organic because
Right.
it does matter. It does matter, but by the same token, we have to be realistic and there's things that you can do to kind of again mitigate that by
Yeah.
washing your produce properly and looking at
Pick the most
alternative
important
ways.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So tell us a little bit about how people can find you in the world if they want to learn more about you and be inspired by you.
Thank you. Well, my biggest platform is Facebook, and I do a lot of my broadcasts and a lot of my posts I do to the public because I identify as being a teacher. I love to teach. I love to educate in a really fun and entertaining way. So Facebook, and I'll give you the link so that you can post
Okay.
that. Ingrid Elise is my handle. Um, every Tuesday, I do a Tasty Tuesdays, which is my live cooking show. And again, it's 5 ingredients or less that are budget friendly, that are low in sugar, low in carb, diabetic friendly, and really economic and just so simple. It does, we overthink so many things, we overcomplicate everything. It really can be that simple. And I don't use really complicated recipes. It's just really simple. And I also show people, what tools are there. That,
Yes.
investing in an air fryer or a slow cooker, I tell you, you're going
Yep.
to save yourself a lot of grief, particularly if there's foods that you really like. Well, you can make them at home in the air fryer, and they're probably better. In fact, I know
Right.
they are better than what you would get at the fast food restaurant,
Whatever restaurant.
at a restaurant. I mean, it's so simple. So there's all kinds of tools. So Tasty Tuesdays, I broadcast that live, and then there's you can always watch the replay. That's the main thing. I'm working on some books that are coming down the pipe.
Good.
But really, I'm all about educating through my videos and my reels and my stories is kind of how I get the message out right now.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I love that you're non-judgmental and that you're just like,
No.
just do a little better. Just do a little better. It's
Yeah,
not like
it's
anybody has to come
yeah.
perfect.
It's
Yeah,
it's baby steps. For a lot of people, it's a matter of okay, so for example, oh, but I have to have my creamer in my coffee. Okay, but do away with that ultra processed sugary garbage that's full of chemicals. Get your heavy whipping cream and a little stevia, or you can get some of those syrups that are sugar free. Um,
right.
and there's your creamer.
Enjoy
It's
it.
the same
Hmm.
thing. And it's going to go a lot further, especially it's like, oh, that's a great example. It's like, okay, who doesn't like their big sugary, coffees and blended coffee drinks? You can make those at home. They've got cleaner ingredients and they're a fraction of the cost. I mean, who wants to pay $7, $8 for a big thing
I know.
when you could pay $7, $8 and drink those for a month?
I know, right? Yeah. Well, I'm going to cut us off, but thank you so
Oh,
much
thank
for
you,
your
Penny.
time and for sharing your wisdom and how much I resonate with you. And I feel like we're similar personalities in different industries, but really it's about progress and grace in the process. So
Well,
thanks for doing
financial
that.
health is a big part of that wheel of life. And without the financial health, you are going to stress your body out
That's
emotionally,
right.
physically. Yeah. So
Yeah,
thank
for
you for
sure.
having me, Penny.
You're welcome. All right. Thanks, everybody. Be wise.